From the News Channel 5 Network, this is OpenLine.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to OpenLine. I'm Carrie Sharp. Thank you for joining us tonight. And tonight's topic is something that we can all relate to, whether we like it or not. And I don't think many of us like it. We are talking about inflation. It is hitting all of us one way or another, and probably in lots of ways. Our guest tonight is a professor from Lipscomb University, Julio Rivas. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Carrie. I appreciate the invitation. I'm very happy to be here.
We are glad you're here because, man, I mean, I just have a lot of questions about what's going on from an economic standpoint.
Sure.
And probably my biggest question, which we will get to, is there any relief in sight? Are there indicators?
Yes.
I want to get to that, but first,
Sure.
Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Well, you know, my name is Julio Rivas. I am a professor at Lipscomb University. I teach finance. That's my specialty. My PhD is in finance. You know, so very, very close to economics. I'm also the director of the MBA program. So I have more than one role at the university, and I really enjoy it. You know, I really enjoy teaching and talking to students, and evidently I enjoy doing research and reading about economics.
You're a numbers guy,
oh
right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And well, I think it's important for all of us to understand what's going on and to have a better perspective of the problems. You know, and as you were mentioning earlier, the potential solution.
Yes.
What's going to happen?
I think that we all want to see an easier day sooner rather than later when it comes to our financial stakes and all of this. But I want to remind you, this is OpenLine. This is your chance to ask the professor any questions that you might have. Also, call in. Let us know where you're being hardest hit, what kind of relief that you're looking for, what kind of concessions you are making in your own budget. Love to have that conversation tonight, as always. Numbers on the bottom of the screen, 615-737+. But as I mentioned to you, I've got a whole list of questions myself because like you and I were talking before the show, this has hit everybody. These skyrocketing prices. Inflation is what, at a 4-decade high right now?
Yes. It was almost, if I remember correctly, around 8% annualized. You know, which is very high. You know, that's not something that we're used to. You know, we're used to having around 2-3%, which is a normal rate, which is even some people might claim it is a healthy rate of inflation, right?
Yeah.
But 8% is well, almost 3 times higher than what we've seen in the past.
And when you think of a 4-decade high, that means a good chunk of the people living today have never seen a time such as this.
That is correct. Yeah. I mean,
and it makes people nervous.
It is. It will. Yeah, of course. You know.
Yeah.
Here's the issue with inflation. Generates uncertainty, right? And we don't like uncertainty, right? We want to be as certain as possible of what's going to happen in the future, right? But if prices are growing at a rate that is higher than what we're used to, it is harder to plan. You know, I mean, you were saying our household budgets are harder to plan. You know, I mean, how much are we going to spend on gas, for instance, right? I mean, that's a big question. You know, how much are we going to spend? Well, more? Are we gonna have to spend more? And gas is one of the things that is very hard to cut. You know, I mean, we're not. We need to commute to work. We need to commute to school. So we're not gonna cut that off. So we need to cut something off if we need to pay for that gas. And I mean, there's a lot of other products. And yes, you know, households make budgets, businesses make budgets as well, and everything requires transportation, right?
Right.
So transportation depends upon fuel, you know.
You know, I do want to talk about how we got here, but you bring up a great point. There are really, some people are really in a dual boat here. You have the personal side, which you're feeling those personal expenses skyrocket, but we have our economy is made up of so many small businesses. And people are on the business side saying, I am hurting over here because all my supplies are up, you know, getting them here, everything else, and you hate to pass on that to your customers, but then I mean, something has to give.
And businesses are going to be facing that dilemma. Right? It's costs are going up, and it is getting more and more expensive to sell your products. Are you going to increase your prices? Well, yes. I mean, if you increase your prices, you might be able to cover those costs, but then people might not be able to buy your product.
Yeah.
You might become unaffordable. You know? So that becomes a problem as well. You know, that becomes a problem.
Well, let's kind of dial back a little bit here.
Sure.
How did we land in this boat where inflation is at a 4-decade high?
Yeah.
How did we get here?
There's a lot of different combinations, right? And the the main culprit, if we may, for a lot of economists, a lot of people think that the main culprit were the stimulus package due to COVID, for instance.
So the checks that we were all getting in the mail, most people were like, all right, money in the mail, we like it.
Yeah, a lot of people think that is the main culprit. I tend to agree that has a lot to do to what's going on right now. I mean,
well, explain that. What happened just in that aspect? I know there's more, but tell me how that impacted all this.
Well, it's very simple. I mean, let's assume we all get an extra $1,000, right? So what are we gonna do with an extra $1,000? Well, most likely we're gonna spend it, right?
That's right.
It's most of us will not really save it.
No, we're not good savers.
We will buy more things. Some people, well, they have to spend it because they don't have any other option. But the people that have options will spend it. So at the end, we're all gonna have more money, and we're competing for basically the same amount of goods and services that are available, right? So let's assume we want to buy this phone, right? Well, you and I have an extra $1,000, so we might be willing to pay more than what
what we normally would.
Well, that is correct. And if you magnify that, and if you see more and more people doing that, well, that is what's going to happen. It's in economics, we'll say, well, we need to have money in order to buy goods and services, right? And money needs to grow as the economy grows. But if money grows faster than the economy, if money grows faster than the rate at which we are producing goods and services,
we've got a problem.
Yes. I mean, let's simplify. We have 100 phones and $100. Well, the price of a phone is going to be $1, right?
Yeah.
But if we have 100 phones and $200, what's going to happen to the price? I mean, we have the same number of phones, but we have more money. So the price is going to go up.
Yeah.
Yes. That is one of the reasons.
Okay, let's pause with that. I know there are more, but we have a caller on the line. Joe, thank you for joining us tonight. You're our first caller up. Usually the first caller breaks the ice, so go ahead.
There we go. Well, if we're going to get on into something deep, the inflation is one thing, but I'm going to tell you, we're supposed to be the superpower of the world, and people better wake up, because when the superpower has to have baby formula shipped in from another country, to me that sounds like a bad problem. I don't know, that and a mix of other things that's we're dependent on other countries, and like I say, people need to wake up, and I'm gonna leave it alone at that.
Okay, Joe, thank you for calling in. He brings up an interesting dilemma, and I think this goes right back to the anxiety we're talking about. Everything from the inflation to not being able to feed our children, it creates a lot of anxiety. I mean, everything seems out of whack right now.
Yes.
Something like the baby formula shortage, does that have an impact on the economy, just from the anxiety it's creating from the shortage that's there?
I mean, it's every time there's a shortage, there's going to be that anxiety, as you mentioned it. It's we don't know if there's going to be baby formula in the future, right?
Right.
Now. I think they've been addressing this, and I hope this problem gets solved soon, because this is urgent.
Yeah.
But I mean, the same thing happened with hand sanitizers
and toilet paper and all the things.
Yeah. I mean, what happens if people see that there are issues, there are problems, and there's going to be shortages? Well, people tend to buy more than what they need, right? And if you want to buy it from me, I'm going to charge you more. I mean, that's in a lot of ways, pure economists will say that that's supply and demand. That's the way things work. But in reality, a lot of people will struggle, and it's going to be very hard for them to get whatever goods and services we are lacking. And Joe brings a good point. I mean, we need to be aware of what are our shortcomings and what are our strengths.
Right.
And there are some issues that really, we need to take care of.
Well, and we've talked about this before. Part of our problem has been, we had so many shutdowns in China and such because of COVID. That created a supply chain disruption. That means goods weren't getting here. Then the price goes up to get what we've got, right?
Yeah, it's the same supply and demand. I mean, it's if you want to buy something that is not available, or we used to have 100, now we have 50. And the same number of people want to buy that product. Well, the price of the product is going to go up. And it becomes harder to offer that product.
Okay, we've got another caller on the line. David, thank you for being with us tonight. Go ahead, David.
Hi, yes. My comment about the inflation is that I think, if there was just one problem, we could easily pinpoint it and fix it, but there is like multiple, I mean, coming from everywhere kind of problems. But I think that the main, or the root of it, if you will, is that we're living at this point beyond our means. And, I could get into why that is too, but what is happening is, I believe that the wealth is getting stored up. I mean, it is, going to the ultra wealthy. And what I project is happening is that, it will continue that way, and the less fortunate, or, whatever you want to categorize the, everyday people, they're going to keep, struggling, and their membership or whatever is going to keep growing. And even though some people are doing okay at this point, and they're okay with it, well, they're going to be with the less fortunate. If it keeps going in this
that gap is widening.
It will happen. I cannot see how it will not.
That's interesting.
I mean, that's just my perspective, because all the wealth is stored up with the wealthy.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. David, thank you for calling in. Appreciate your viewpoint. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think. Well, David brings a very interesting point. I'll say that the American economy in general is very consumption based. It's consumption has been the driver of our GDP for decades and decades, right? So that is the way in which the economy has traditionally been growing. I think it's important to be conscious. Yes, I think. We might be living beyond our means. Is that true? Well, I don't have the answer for that. But that is an interesting point to consider. And we were mentioning earlier, if we get $1,000 extra, we will most likely spend them, right?
Yeah.
And I think it will be beneficial if we were doing more investing. More planning for the future, more. A better projection of our household budgets.
As someone who studies this, when talk of the stimulus check started growing, and then they started delivering, then we were going to do a second and a third, what were you thinking?
I was thinking, yeah, more money, right? No, it's at some point, what makes me wonder is, well, I mean, the economy might need a stimulus, right? But do we need that much stimulus? Would everyone need that stimulus?
Gotcha.
I mean, it's certainly for a group of people, that stimulus was probably needed. But for everyone, well, it's and the magnitude becomes very, very big, and it can hit us. And it's hitting us right now. And it's I think that happens with inflation is once. At the beginning, when there's more money, prices don't go up right away, right? So it gets delayed, right? That's why we're seeing the effects right now, and we did not see them a couple of years ago because
it takes time.
It takes time. That is correct.
Wow. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. I appreciate the calls we've already had. If you have questions, comments, thoughts, come on, call in. Tonight's the night. 615-737+. Stay with us.